friends, welcome back to my channel. If you've ever tried to cut and sew slippery silk satin, then you'll know how frustrating it can be. Today, you're going to learn an essential method to make silk behave. It's a simple kitchen ingredient that transforms the fabric. We're going to use gelatin to temporarily firm up Liberty silk satin so it's easier to cut and sew. You'll get my exact recipe and supplies that I use, and something that bugs me in similar videos on this topic. I'm going to explain why we use gelatin. Wait, did you think that I'd forgotten? If you've been watching my recent videos, you'll know that I'm giving away treats to my viewers. Today, there's one pattern voucher up for grabs appearing on the screen now. The first person to claim this code will get a free sewing pattern from sewdirect.com. Let me know in the comments if you were the lucky person who snapped this up, and if not, don't worry, there'll be another chance to win in my next video. At the end of this tutorial, I'll also share where I picked up these silk satins from Liberty for just £4 a metre. I want you to feel braver when using your precious fabrics, especially if you're taking part in the Precious Fabric 25 challenge. This special sewing challenge is back for another year, and this time there's prizes up for grabs. Challenge yourself to sew some precious fabric from your stash, post your finished make on Instagram, and tag Whitney from Tomcat Stitchery. Make sure to use the hashtag PreciousFabric25 and check out the video description for more info, or head over to Whitney's channel. Let's get started. Disclaimer number 1, my finished silk makes are cared for by dry cleaning, not hand washing. Liberty silk satin is highly pigmented, and overwashing it will dull the print and the colours. So I limit the water exposure to 3 times only. So that's the pre-wash, the gelatin bath, and the washout. You do you, of course. But they're my thoughts on the matter, and I want to make sure to include that. Disclaimer number 2, I'm actually a vegetarian. I don't really enjoy working with gelatin, so it's kind of not my favourite thing to do. But I must confess I've never actually tried agar-agar or pectin-based vegan alternatives on my fabric. I've heard that they can work. I have tried starch washes with some success on viscose and georgette, but for silk satin I use gelatin because it's natural fibres and it's a natural product. The science bit. Ooh. So why does gelatin work? Gelatin is made from collagen, a protein, and when you dissolve it in water, it creates a thin film that clings to the silk fibres. This coating stiffens the fibres slightly, adding body and grip without damaging them. Because it's water soluble, it washes right out after you finish sewing, returning the silk to its natural drape. Think of it as a temporary stabiliser, like an interfacing that you can wash away. First things first, preparing the gelatin bath. This is a recipe for 1 metre of fabric. I have 2 1-metre cuts of this fabric, so it's the perfect chance to show off the before and after side by side. First, measure 2 teaspoons of powdered gelatin into 1 litre of room temperature water. Let it sit for 30 minutes so the gelatin can bloom. This step is essential because it allows the granules to absorb the water and they swell, which helps it dissolve properly later on. Once bloomed, pour the mixture into 2 litres of hot water and stir well until the gelatin is fully dissolved. You're looking for a clear solution with no lumps. You want the water to be hot to the touch, to the hand, but not unbearable. I use a sort of hot face washing temperature. Next step is soaking your fabric. Place your silk into the warm gelatin bath. That sounds nice, doesn't it? Make sure the fabric is fully submerged and stir gently so every inch is coated. After that, leave it for about an hour. That's enough time for the protein film to bond to the silk surface. While it's soaking, you can carry on with your prep. Clear a space for drying out, ideally a large tabletop, and lay out some clean towels. Next step is removing excess liquid. After an hour, lift the fabric out of the bath gently and squeeze out the excess water by hand, very softly. Then lay it out on your towels and roll it into a tube to blot out as much liquid as possible. Be very gentle. Silk fibres are at their weakest when they're wet. The next step is drying. Roll back out your towels and lay your silk flat to dry. Ideally use a big table, but if you're in a pinch, you could fold your fabric in half, or if you can, maybe use the floor. Depending on your home's temperature and how thin your silk is, it could dry in just a few hours. As it dries, you're going to start to feel that extra crispiness and stability. It's magic. Here's that finished result again. The silk feels firmer, less slippery, and far easier to cut and sew. Pins hold better and seams stay straighter. So much easier to handle. After you finish sewing your garment, just hand wash it gently to remove the gelatin and restore the silk's natural drape and shine. And don't forget, if you want to find £4 Liberty silk, head to the next Minerva Warehouse sale. One's coming up in October. You can join me and we'll be on the hunt for £4 silk together. So that's the gelatin hack for slippery silk satin, plus the science behind why it works. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe for more sewing tips and another chance to win. Let me know in the comments if you try this, and leave any other questions you have about sewing with silk satin, because I'm working on a full lesson on how to handle this tricky fabric end to end. Happy sewing, and I'll see you all soon.